How's it going, everyone? My name is Rub, and I'm here today to talk about grief. This will be part one of a multiple episode long series about emotions and my experiences with them. Now, you may be wondering, why am I talking about grief and what makes me supposedly qualified to do so? To answer that, I will have to reveal some personal information that I do not talk about quite often, but my hope is that this will change that for me. Talking about your feelings and thoughts are one of, if not the best way to work through them. And if me making these videos and talking about my own problems would help any one person with theirs, then this will all be worth the effort. What makes me qualified to talk about grief? Well, since 2011, there have been at least 7 people that have passed away in my life. In all honesty, I've stopped counting. That was the last count that I had. 4 of at least those 7 were incredibly close to me. I have dealt with grief essentially half my life, and I still deal with it to this day. And I feel as though that is enough to qualify me to at least talk about my experiences. Grief is one of the hardest emotions to work through and process. Unfortunately, it isn't something that truly goes away. It will get better with time, but it's always there. There's this analogy that I find truly explains what it's like to deal with grief, and it goes a little something like this. Grief is like a stone you picked up and put into your pocket. At first, you constantly feel the stone in your pocket, and it's very noticeable. However, as time goes by, you slowly start to get used to the stone being in your pocket, and it becomes less and less noticeable. You will, once in a while, though, maybe bump into a door, bump into your bed, bump into something, and you will hit the stone, and it'll make you remember, hey, the stone is still in your pocket. And then your process repeats about slowly forgetting that it's there, and then once in the blue moon, it pops up again. Grief never truly goes away. There will be times that your grief pops up, and that happens and is part of the overall process of grief. Now, grief, in my opinion, also does not always have to be someone that has passed away. I feel that it can also be someone that is alive, but is no longer a part of your life. I happen to have one of those people that I grieve for that is just no longer in my life. However, I have found that the process of grief and what goes into it is essentially the same thing for both people that have passed and people that are no longer part of my life. The beginning feelings of grief is the only way that I can describe it is like walking around with only one shoe on. It's like having a crucial and important part of your life missing, at least for those that are close to you. I do understand that usually grieving people that have passed are usually ones that have had a great impact on your life, as at least 4 of those people have for me. Grief can show up in the most unexpected times, whether it is while you're having a meal, whether you're watching a movie, whether you're looking at a sign for a store, whether you hear someone say a phrase, whether it's during the holidays, it can make you remember whom you are grieving. Personally, I find my grief shows up more in movies, the meals, specific holidays, and even music. It shows up randomly. A lot of the time, it is something that makes you think about the person that's passed. Now, it can also be the same for people that are no longer in life. For me, the person that I grieve that is no longer in my life is my ex. Things that make me think about her are specific movies, shows that she liked, her favorite drinks, her favorite food, even just flat out the holiday, Halloween, specific YouTubers, among other things. In the grand scheme of things, what makes you grieve is the same. The person that has passed that I grieve the most to this day is my grandfather that passed away 4 years ago. He was the man that I'm named after, and he was one of my idols growing up till now. Some things that make me think of him include the band Kiss, which was his favorite band. Any porch talk, just sitting on a porch and talking with anyone. That was our thing that we did quite often, and I miss that to this day. Some of his favorite movies, some of which being National Lampoon's Animal House and Caddyshack. Pretty much all holidays, he was really like the glue that held my family together during those times, and along with other things. And in all honesty, there's not a day that goes by where I do not think about him at least once. He never got to see me graduate. He never got to see me get my license. Never met my first girlfriend. Never got to see me obtain my associate's degree. He will not get to see me off to university come August. And he wasn't healthy enough to see me get my first job. He was in the hospital at that point. Among other things that he has not seen and will not see. All I wish is that I'm making him proud of the man that I'm becoming to this day. And I was even tearing up while writing the script. But that is the beauty of grief. There is always a bright side to any situation. The bright side of grief is the fact that you are grieving any person that is dead or alive, any animal that may have passed, among any other thing. It means that you have made wonderful memories with those whom you have that you grieve. To me, that is beautiful. You have spent such a wonderful time with these people, animals, items, while they were around, that you miss them while they are not. You wish to spend more time with them doing your favorite things. This fact helped me and continues to help me work through my grief. I can look back at all the memories that I have made, think to myself how lucky I am to have spent any time whatsoever with these people during my short life so far. And for the lack of a better term, that's a form of poetry. I have found that the easiest way to work through any emotions is to find the positive in any given situation. Because at the end of the day, whether you believe it or not, there is always a positive. There's always a positive in any given situation, and grief is nothing to the contrary of it. It's there. Being able to be sad about things that we have lost is a beautiful thing. And I hope people do fully understand that. But I do hope that this has helped at least one person. Sometimes we just need someone to talk to with no judgment and no solutions. Just someone to listen to the ideas that are in our head. And I hope that every single one of you that has watched to this point, and even those who have not, know that I'm happy to be the person for you all if you ever need anyone to talk to. I understand the feeling of not having someone to talk to, but believe me, there is always someone to talk to. You just have to look in the right place. But anywho, that is episode 1 in this little mini-series. I hope it's helped at least one person. I know that writing it has helped me at least a little bit. But this was Rub, and to the next one, I'll see you all there.